The Silent Sentinel. The Alterian research station Lumina hung against the backdrop of stars like a delicate crystalline structure, its habitat rings slowly rotating to maintain artificial gravity. From Commander Saris Vex's observation deck, the blue-green world of Kepler 629 shimmered below, a jewel of potentially habitable real estate at the very edge of the Galactic Compact's territory. Status report, Vex said, his translucent appendages shifting color from a calm blue to a concerned purple. The Alterians, with their gelatinous, color-changing bodies, were renowned as the Compact's premier xenobiologists and planetary surveyors. Final atmospheric analysis complete, Commander, Science Officer Nura replied, her own body pulsing with excitement. Oxygen levels are 23%, nitrogen 74%, with trace elements compatible with most compact species. The planet is a prime candidate for colonization. Vex allowed himself a ripple of satisfaction across his membrane. After 3 cycles stationed at this remote outpost, they finally had tangible results to show for their isolation. The Lumina housed a complement of 42 researchers and support staff, a small community so far from the heart of the Compact. Excellent. Prepare the final report for transmission to Central. They'll be pleased to. Commander, the voice of Security Chief Tellin cut through the ambient hum of the station. Multiple warp signatures detected at the system's edge. Vex's body instantly shifted to an alarmed crimson. Identification. Unknown, sir. Tellin's own coloration had paled to near translucence, the Alterian equivalent of dread. Wait. Pattern matching complete. Krovak's signatures. A collective ripple of terror passed through every Alterian on the command deck. The Krovaks, predatory arthropods with exoskeletons like polished obsidian, and a philosophy that viewed all other species as either resources to exploit or obstacles to eliminate. That's impossible, Nura whispered. The Krovaks have never ventured this far from their territory. But the tactical display told a different story. 7 massive Krovaks dreadnoughts were decelerating into the system, their distinctive blade-like silhouettes unmistakable even at this distance. They must have detected our research, Vex said grimly. Kepler 629 has too many valuable resources. Initiate emergency protocols. Send distress signals on all compact frequencies. The station erupted into controlled chaos as the Alterians, a species evolved for scientific inquiry rather than conflict, prepared for the unthinkable. The Lumina possessed minimal defensive capabilities, a shield system designed for celestial debris, and a single-point defense array for clearing their orbital path. Distress signals broadcasting on all channels, Commander. Communications Specialist Eris reported. No immediate responses. Vex wasn't surprised. The nearest compact outpost was 3 weeks away at maximum warp. His gaze returned to the tactical display, where the Krovaks vessels had accelerated to attack velocity. How long until they're in weapons range? 6 hours, Commander. 6 hours before the Krovaks would arrive to either obliterate the station or, worse, capture it and its occupants for their infamous processing centers, where captive species were repurposed as slave labor or biological components. Keep broadcasting. Someone might hear us. But as the hours passed, the silence from the rest of the galaxy became deafening. The Compact's strategic doctrine was pragmatic: sacrifice remote outposts rather than commit precious defensive resources to losing battles. The Lumina had always known its position came with risks. 5 hours later, with the Krovaks now visible through the observation windows as approaching points of malevolent light, Vex gathered his crew. "I've ordered the evacuation shuttles prepared," he announced, his body now a resigned gray. "Though we all know the Krovaks will likely intercept them. Better a quick death in space than what awaits us if they board," Tellin said, voicing what they all knew. "What about the research?" Nura asked, still dedicated to their mission even now. "All data has been compressed and loaded onto the emergency beacon. If any shuttle makes it past their blockade, the Compact will at least know what we discovered here." Vex looked at his crew, scientists and researchers who had volunteered for this remote assignment out of curiosity and the pursuit of knowledge. None of them deserved this end. "It has been my honor to serve with." "Commander," Eris interrupted, her color shifting rapidly between disbelief and hope. New warp signatures detected, not Krovax. All attention turned to the tactical display. Emerging from warp came 12 vessels of unfamiliar design, sleek and angular, with no wasted elements in their construction. Their hulls gleamed with a gunmetal sheen that seemed to absorb rather than reflect the light of Kepler's star. "Identification," Vex demanded, barely daring to hope. "Unknown, Commander." "They're not broadcasting any compact recognition codes." Eris paused. "Wait, they're transmitting on an open channel." A moment later, a voice filled the command deck, flat, without the musical harmonics of most compact species, yet carrying unmistakable authority. "Alterian Research Station, this is Captain Eliza Chen of the Earth Defense Force vessel Indomitable. We've intercepted your distress call and are moving to intercept the Krovax force. Stand by for defensive operations." The command deck fell silent. Then Tellan voiced what they were all thinking. Humans. The bipeds from that isolated system that joined the compact barely 2 cycles ago. Indeed, humans were among the newest additions to the Galactic Compact, a curious species from a gravity-heavy world that had only recently mastered warp technology. They maintained a small diplomatic presence at Compact Central, but were otherwise considered a minor species still finding their place in galactic society. The classification reports I've read indicated they possess limited interstellar capabilities, Nura said. "Perhaps 24 vessels, mostly short-range." "Then who are they?" Vex wondered aloud, watching as the human fleet executed a precision formation change that spoke of extensive military experience. And why would they respond when no one else would? On the tactical display, the human vessels accelerated toward the Krovax formation, with what could only be described as aggressive intent. The Krovax, seemingly as surprised as the Alterians, broke their approach vector toward the Lumina and reoriented toward this new threat. "The Krovax are hailing the human vessels," Eris reported. Audio only. The harsh, clicking language of the Krovax filled the command deck, translated by the station's computers. "Unidentified vessels, this is Hive Commander Skrath of the Krovax Dominion. You have entered a Krovax operation zone. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed." The human response came without hesitation. "Krovax vessels, this is Captain Chen. You are threatening a research station in neutral space. By the terms of the Compact Charter, which your government signed, such actions constitute an act of war. We are here to ensure that does not happen. Stand down and withdraw." The Krovax response was not unexpected. "Humans," Skrath's voice dripped with contempt. "Your species is insignificant. You have no standing to intervene here. The Compact will not protect you when we—" The transmission cut off as the lead Krovax vessel fired, a sickly green beam of energy that lanced toward the human formation. What happened next left every Alterian on the command deck frozen in astonishment. The human vessels didn't evade. Instead, the beam struck what appeared to be an invisible barrier several hundred meters from the lead ship's hull and dissipated into harmless energy. "Impossible," Tellan whispered. "The Krovax disruptor cannons can penetrate any known shield technology." Before anyone could respond, the human fleet moved with synchronized precision. 4 vessels broke formation, accelerating to flanking positions, while the others maintained a defensive screen. From the lead ship, the Indomitable, erupted a barrage of blue-white energy that struck the Krovax vessel that had fired. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Krovax shields, renowned throughout the galaxy for their resilience, flickered and failed. A second barrage from another human vessel struck the now unprotected dreadnought, and it simply came apart, breaking into perfectly bisected sections as though cut by some impossibly sharp blade. By the first gestation, Nura breathed. "What kind of weapons are those?" The battle. if it could be called that, lasted less than 20 minutes. The human vessels moved with ruthless efficiency, their weapons bypassing or overwhelming Krovax defenses that had terrorized the compact for generations. 3 Krovax dreadnoughts were destroyed outright, 2 more crippled and drifting. The remaining 2 managed to retreat, jumping to warp with clear damage to their hull structures. When it was over, Captain Chen's voice returned to the command channel. Alterian Station Lumina. Threat neutralize. We're dispatching medical and engineering teams to assist with any damage or casualties. Please prepare your docking bays. Vex found his voice at last. Captain Chen, we are grateful beyond expression. But I must ask, why did you come? We are at the edge of known space. There was a pause before Chen responded, and when she did, her voice carried a weight that transcended species differences. Because you asked for help, Commander, and because someone needed to. As the human vessels moved into protective positions around the station, Vex watched them with new understanding. The galaxy had just changed in ways that would reverberate far beyond this remote system. The humans weren't what the Compact thought they were. They were something else entirely. The Reckoning. The Luminous primary docking bay had never been designed to accommodate military vessels, let alone ones of unfamiliar configuration. Yet somehow, the sleek shuttle from the human flagship Indomitable nestled perfectly against the Alterian airlock, as though built specifically for this interface. Commander Vex, along with his senior staff, waited as the pressure equalized, and the doors slid open to reveal their rescuers. Captain Eliza Chen stepped through first, a figure of moderate height by human standards, with close-cropped dark hair and eyes that seemed to evaluate everything with professional calculation. She wore a uniform of deep navy blue with subtle silver insignia that Vex couldn't interpret. Behind her came 4 other humans, each carrying equipment cases and wearing similar uniforms. All moved with the quiet confidence of predators, though their expressions remained neutral. Commander Vex, Chen extended a hand, then quickly retracted it, remembering Alterian customs. Instead, she offered a small bow. Captain Eliza Chen, Earth Defense Force. Vex rippled his translucent appendages in the traditional Alterian greeting. Captain Chen, words cannot express our gratitude. You saved 42 lives today. 43, corrected one of the humans behind Chen, a broad-shouldered individual with skin several shades darker than the captain's. Their science officer is pregnant. Twins. Nura's body flushed a startled pink. How could you possibly know that? I only confirmed it myself 3 days ago. The human smiled. Bioscanners. Standard procedure when approaching an unknown situation. He tapped a device on his wrist. Lieutenant Commander Rashid, Chief Medical Officer. Vex felt a chill ripple through his membrane. The ability to scan for life signs at that distance, with that level of detail, was not technology that minor species possessed. Chen seemed to read his thoughts. Perhaps we should speak privately, Commander. My team can assist your crew with repairs while we talk. Minutes later, in Vex's private office, Chen declined the offered gelatinous nutrient cube with a polite smile and took a seat across from him. I imagine you have questions, she began. Several thousand, Vex admitted, beginning with how 12 vessels from Earth happened to be within response range of our distress call when the nearest compact outpost is 3 weeks away. Chen's expression remained composed. We weren't responding to your distress call specifically, Commander. The Earth Defense Force maintains patrol routes throughout this sector. We were already en route when we detected your transmission. This sector is not within Earth's sphere of influence according to compact records. According to compact records, Chen agreed, emphasizing the distinction subtly. Vex's coloration shifted to a thoughtful blue-green. The compact believes Earth possesses perhaps 24 vessels capable of interstellar travel. Chen smiled. The compact believes what we've allowed it to believe. Earth currently maintains a fleet of over 700 combat-capable vessels across 28 sectors of space. If Alterians could have gasped, Vex would have. 700 vessels represented a force larger than the combined navies of the Compact's 3 founding species. That's impossible. The resources required, the infrastructure, is considerable. Chen finished for him. Earth has been preparing for over a century, Commander, since before we officially made contact with the Compact. Preparing for what? Chen's expression grew serious. Exactly what happened today. Predatory species who view the galaxy as their hunting ground rather than a shared ecosystem. She produced a small device and placed it on the desk between them. It projected a holographic display of the galaxy with hundreds of small points of light scattered throughout. These are Earth monitoring stations, automated, stealthed, and virtually undetectable by current compact scanning technology. For decades, they've been observing, recording, and transmitting data back to Earth. Vex stared at the display, comprehension dawning with terrible clarity. You've been watching us. All of us. Chen nodded. We've witnessed 18 separate genocides, 36 planetary strip minings resulting in extinction events, and countless minor atrocities that the Compact either couldn't or wouldn't prevent. The Compact maintains a policy of balanced intervention, Vex said automatically, though the words felt hollow even to him. Balance, Chen repeated, a hint of emotion finally breaking through her professional demeanor. Tell me, Commander, what is balanced about abandoning 42 scientists to torture and death because they're inconveniently located? Vex had no answer. Humanity has a complicated history, Chen continued, her voice softening. We've committed our share of atrocities against each other, but we learned, eventually, that cooperation achieves more than conflict. When we discovered we weren't alone in the universe, we hoped to find others who'd learned the same lesson. She gestured to the holographic display. Instead, we found the Compact, a collection of species who had achieved interstellar cooperation, yes, but who still practiced the politics of convenience, who still calculated the value of lives against resources. And so Earth prepared for war, Vex concluded. Earth prepared to prevent war, Chen corrected. Or at least, to ensure that if war came, we wouldn't be its victims. The implications were staggering. All this time, as the Compact had condescendingly welcomed humanity as a developing species, humans had been quietly building a military force that could rival or exceed anything in known space. The Krovacs will return, Vex said, and they won't come with just 7 ships next time. We're counting on it, Chen said with a grim smile. The Earth Defense Force has been tracking Krovacs' expansion patterns for decades. This incident will force them to reveal more of their true strength when they retaliate, which plays into your hands somehow. Knowledge is power, Commander. The more we know about their capabilities, the better we can counter them. Vex's analytical mind raced ahead. You protected us as a strategic move, to provoke the Krovacs into a response that will provide you with intelligence. Chen's expression softened. That was one reason, but not the only one. She leaned forward. Humanity remembers what it means to be vulnerable, Commander, to call for help and have no one answer. A moment of silence passed between them, 2 species separated by biology, evolution, and culture, yet connected by something more fundamental. What happens now? Vex finally asked. Now, Chen said, standing, you have a choice. Return to the Compact with your research, as planned. Tell them what happened here, or don't. That's your decision. And Earth will continue as we have been, watching, preparing. She smiled slightly, intervening when necessary. The Compact Council won't accept this revelation quietly. 700 warships secretly deployed throughout Compact space. Many will view it as an act of aggression. Perhaps, Chen acknowledged. But I think they'll be more concerned with the question of how we managed to deploy them without detection, and what that implies about their security. Before Vex could respond, the ship's communication system chimed. Captain, Eris's voice came through. We're receiving transmissions from across the sector. Word of the battle has already spread. 6 different compact vessels are diverting to our location, including a diplomatic cruiser from Central. Chen smiled at Vex. It seems the conversation is about to become much larger, Commander. 3 days later, the Lumina's observation deck hosted an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from 7 compact species had arrived, along with 3 additional human vessels that had happened to be in range. Captain Chen, now in a more formal uniform adorned with additional insignia, stood before the assembled dignitaries. The Earth Defense Force acted in accordance with compact humanitarian principles, she was saying to the Thraxian ambassador, whose bristling tentacles indicated deep agitation. If the compact disapproves of our intervention, we will of course respect any formal censure. That is not the point, Captain, the Thraxian replied, its translator rendering its fluctuating tones into clipped syllables. The point is that Earth has concealed its true military capabilities from the compact. Such deception violates the spirit of cooperation. Does it? Chen asked mildly. The compact charter does not require member species to disclose their full defensive capabilities, only to refrain from using them aggressively against other members. The Thraxian had no immediate reply. From his position at the side of the room, Vex watched the diplomatic dance with newfound perspective. The compact representatives were outwardly expressing concern, even outrage, but he could detect the undercurrents of fear. Humanity had just demonstrated technology that surpassed current compact standards and military prowess that had dispatched Krovax dreadnoughts with ease. The balance of power had shifted overnight, but Junior Communications Officer approached Vex, her coloration indicating urgency. Commander, long-range sensors have detected multiple warp signatures at the system's edge. Krovax energy patterns, but more of them. Many more. Vex moved swiftly to the tactical display. What he saw sent ripples of alarm through his membrane. 23 Krovax vessels were decelerating into the system, a fleet 3 times the size of the previous attack force. The compact representatives noticed his reaction and moved to join him, conversations halting mid-sentence. It appears, Chen said calmly from behind them, that the Krovax have decided to escalate matters. This is catastrophic, the Thraxian ambassador declared. Even with your vessels, Captain, we cannot hope to repel a force of that size. We must evacuate immediately. Chen's expression remained untroubled. That won't be necessary, Ambassador. She tapped her communication device. Chen to tactical. Implement Aegis protocol. Almost immediately, the tactical display changed. New signatures appeared throughout the system, dozens of them, then hundreds, emerging from stealth positions near moons, asteroids, and orbital paths. What is this? Demanded the Praxian representative, her feathered crest rising in alarm. Earth Defense Force, 5th Fleet, Chen replied. They've been in position for 3 days, cloaked and waiting. Standard procedure when we engage an enemy force. Vex stared at the display in awe. Over 300 human vessels now surrounded the approaching Krovax fleet in a 3-dimensional containment grid. Captain, came a voice over Chen's communicator. Krovax fleet is altering course. They appear to be withdrawing. A collective exhalation of relief passed through the room, followed immediately by a deeper, more profound silence as the implication sank in. Your species, the Thraxian ambassador finally said, is not what we believed you to be. No, Chen agreed. We never were. She turned to address the entire gathering. For too long, the compact has allowed species like the Krovax to operate with impunity in what you call frontier regions. Earth has chosen a different path. We will protect those who cannot protect themselves. You speak of enforcing your will upon the galaxy, the Praxian objected. We speak of defending a principle, Chen countered. That all sentient life deserves protection, not just those conveniently located near Compact Central. As the debate continued around him, Vex found himself remembering Chen's earlier words, because you asked for help, and because someone needed to. Perhaps, Vex reflected, watching the human captain calmly redefine galactic relations before his eyes, That was the most important revelation of all. Not that humanity possessed unexpected strength, but that they had chosen how to use it. The galaxy was changing, and for the first time in many cycles, Vex felt something like hope for its future. From the observation window, he could see Earth's vessels positioned protectively around the station, silent sentinels from a world that had decided, against all expectations, that the strong had a responsibility to the vulnerable. They had thought no one would come. They had been wrong. End.